Well, Microsoft is still a mighty company. Its revenues in the last half of 2013 were $43 billion, 15% more than the year before. But choosing a new CEO has taken time. Let's have a look at who will take over the reins and what's next for the computer company.
Going forward,
Microsoft named Satya Nadella the head of its cloud computing business as the company's next chief executive. Nadella will replace Steve Ballmer, and he's only the third leader in Microsoft's 38-year history. Company founder Bill Gates is also leaving the chairman role for a new role as technology advisor, with board member John Thompson taking over the role.
This is a safe bet, promoting from within, and I think it's unlikely to lead to the kind of dramatic shakeup that, as I agree, the outside investor community sees as almost a no-brainer.
Nadella, who is 46, has worked at Microsoft for 22 years. Nadella received a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering in Mangalore University in India. He also came to the U.S. and received a master's in computer science from the University of Wisconsin and a master's of business administration from the University of Chicago. He joined Microsoft in 1992 after being a member of the technology staff at Sun Microsystems.
And joining us now is Dee Dee Benkie, Jackie Guzda, and actor James Lewis. So let's talk this out. We've got Microsoft. Can the new CEO turn this company around? And he's got some big shoes to fill. Let's start off with Dee Dee.
Well, look, Bill Gates did a great job, obviously, and he's very, very wealthy.
Yeah.
But, you know, there comes a time when you do need to pass the torch, pass the baton, because it's got to change. If Microsoft doesn't change and do things differently, they're going to end up the way of the BlackBerry. I mean, look, everybody used to have a BlackBerry, and now almost no one does. It's obsolete to the almost.
I still can't believe BlackBerry. What happened to BlackBerry?
Yeah, but I thought that was a good example, though, because
it's a great example.
BlackBerry was so incredible. I had a BlackBerry, and when I got the iPhone, I'm like, oh, I'm done with this. I pitched it.
Right.
And that's the way Microsoft is now, so they've got to watch it. So I think it's very good to have new blood and new ideas and be innovative.
I do too. I wouldn't count out Microsoft so quickly, though. I mean, they are Windows.
No, I think they've got, what, 43 billion we've just said?
Something like that.
I think they're okay.
Having a new CEO and trying to make changes, it's smart. They're a smart company.
Mm-hmm.
you could say the same thing about AT&T. Now, AT&T still exists as a name, but not really as the original company that started it all. They used to be one of the blue chip stocks. You could always say buy them. Not necessarily anymore. And IBM was the same way.
Well, and I think in today's ever-evolving world, you have to be able to change and adapt, which not everybody can. But one of the things a lot of the bloggers were talking about, Steve Ballmer, who became the CEO in 2000, he was sort of running in the last 2 years, he was running this like sort of anti-Google campaign. And a lot of people say it was like a lot of negative energy. And you know, what do we do now from here?
Well, corporations have personalities just like people do.
That's an
Historically,
interesting point,
Gates has been pretty positive.
Yeah.
You know, we heard about him and Melinda
Bill
Gates.
Gates.
Yeah, very positive.
But it's tricky. Starting a company and continuing a company requires a different mindset.
That's an interesting point. But in terms of Ballmer actually being kind of a negative 2-year, and like I said, a lot of the bloggers were talking about this. What does Nadella do? I mean, does he continue on this anti-Google campaign or just lay off?
Well, look, I'm involved in politics, so I'm thinking, well, if he's supposed to be their political guy, great, but he's not. I mean, he has to, work on the schematic of the company. It's a very, very different thing. So it sounds like his head was in the wrong place. So they have a new guy, and I'm sure they really took a look at who can do this. And a lot of people think that they're going to have to break it up into maybe a lot of smaller companies. Still the umbrella, but lots of smaller companies that make it work. And that's why a lot of these other companies that didn't turn into dinosaurs and they were able to evolve, that's what they've done.
Well, that's a great point, because a lot of the headlines were that Nadella cannot play politics as he moves forward into this position. Jackie?
Yeah, well, I think that is what's going to happen. It's going to break up into smaller companies like that to try to survive. But like I said, I wouldn't throw them out yet. They are still a major, major company and Apple's biggest competitor.
Absolutely.
I'm a great believer in integrity, and Google has their credo, is it do no evil, I believe?
Yeah, that's right.
And they've been pretty consistent with that, and they continue to do things. They basically give it away for free, like Google Earth is on my iPhone. Doesn't cost me anything.
And that's huge.
A Google phone number.
It's
and all the other
goodwill.
things they're doing.
Well, I wanted to do a segment on net neutrality because what happened in the last 3 weeks is that there was a DC court that said we no longer have to have net neutrality. Google, if they want, can now charge for the website and everything else that Google owns, like Google Earth, like Google Maps, like Gmail, etc.
But if they don't charge, Jackie, don't you think? I think that's a perfect thing for them to do. If they don't charge, they'll have more and more goodwill, and they'll bury Microsoft even more.
No, no, no. What's going to happen is the whole game is going to change now in the future. You're going to have the big ISPs start to bundle all of these products like Gmail, Google Earth, etc. As the cable television companies do now and start to charge. They're going to start to slow down access to certain sites. They're going to start to black out certain sites. And if you want to pay for things, well, it's going to be like the cable companies. You will not be able to get what you want to get without paying for it. So you think we're going to have
to pay for everything on the internet?
That is the future. There has been a big political fight going on for years.
No, I know, but you really think that'll happen?
But do you think? But if Google starts charging, don't you think that that's going to be a huge problem for them?
Well, it's going to be bundled, just like cable television now. Everybody pays for cable. There was a time.
James is shaking his head.
I don't think so. We're dealing with a different paradigm now. You got cable service, you got one cable coming into your phone. They can charge you whatever they want to. If you don't want it, you're not going to get it. There's a lot of different ways to get data into your home anymore, both wired and wireless. So if Google starts, or any of these other people, start charging too much for their services, somebody will find a better way to do it.
No. What is going on is that you have the huge corporations like Comcast, like Verizon, and they have been lobbying for years to try to get rid of net neutrality. Well, guess what? The courts agreed with them, and the future doesn't look very good. We are not going to have access to information. Education is going to change.
So one part, Jackie. I mean, that's a big leap.
Bill Gates' legacy.
Oh, I think Bill Gates, I mean, with all the money that he has spent on charities and, and still, I mean, he's still the guy. He's still the guy you think of with Microsoft.
Bill Gates.
Yeah, it's Bill Gates, So, and what a wonderful example. And I think, when you always hear about success stories and when people want to be millionaires and billionaires, oh, I want to be like Bill Gates.
Exactly.
I want to make as much as Bill Gates. So, yeah, great legacy. There's no way that's going away.
Yeah, he and his wife.
I think he'll be known for corporate greed. I mean, I appreciate the fact that he and Melinda...
He's not greedy, though. He's not one of the greedy ones.
Well, he's given a lot of it away now, and good for him. But when he first invented Windows, he charged for every little aspect of it.
Well, maybe to survive, he had to begin with. I mean, see, I think that shows he's a better person because he had to do it to survive. And now that he's got some money, I mean, I think he's being a little more liberal with it, and he's being very, very generous with his personal money,
being
of course.
Incredible. Yeah, with that foundation that we have.
Now that my voice is back, thank you so much.
It's ironic that Windows is probably the most well-known and most used, graphic user interface in the world, and it's one of the least stable. But it's the one that's there.
Well, that's when it started. It's just like getting back to BlackBerry or some of these companies that, at the time they were huge. Hey, if they don't evolve, like we talked about before, they can definitely go away. So they've always have to be up on their game.
Yeah.
It kind of scares me, though, that Windows is at use controlling our elevators, our missiles, and then what if the thing suddenly goes and you get the blue screen? It's kind of scary.
You're a real downer, you know it.
Okay, now I'm over my coughing fit. Let's talk about Facebook. 10 years old. What would happen, and where would we be without Facebook?
Oh, we'd probably be talking to each other, relating, touching. Oh, wow, what a concept.
I don't think
there's some
so.
great things that have...
You were reaching over there for Jackie.
Don't touch me.
I saw you. You're starting. You tried to touch Jackie. He's such an actor.
Yeah.
He's not a thespian.
No, but don't you think that people talk more now in cyberspace? I know that the kids do.
Well, sure.
They're always talking.
And you can go too far with anything, but I think it's great. I love Facebook. I love Twitter. And the only thing about Facebook I don't like is you're only allowed to have 5,000 friends. And I've been over that for a long, long time. They need to change that.
But what if Facebook was never invented?
We'd have to talk to each other face to face. However, look at this. I mean, on your phone, you know when all of your friends' birthdays are.
I love that.
You know,
I do too.
I love it
That's
too.
good.
It's like having a secretary. You know what is happening with people that you haven't seen for 20 years. It actually causes you to have more of a relationship. It's just a different platform.
And lots of resources like, oh, I need a doctor. Oh, do I know anyone in Oklahoma? Or do I know anyone in LA? And then you look up on Facebook and they tell you where to eat, what to do.
Okay, so what's the best thing about Facebook to you, James?
The best thing for me?
Yep.
Getting in touch with old friends from high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
A few of them I don't want to be in touch with, and you unfriend them. It's good to have that choice.
Your favorite thing, same thing?
Oh, I would say so. That it really has put me in touch with people I haven't seen in an incredibly long time. And it reminds me whose birthday it is, what's going on, you know, and there's a bit of disclosure there. Things, I mean, people get in trouble when they put too much on Facebook. That is too personal. However, it also kind of breaks the ice. People that you knew for 20 years that you didn't really know under the skin, they will put something on Facebook and it can create a conversation.
I like it because I can post something and very, very quickly I get a lot of input.
Yes.
So I learn about something in 15 minutes. Okay, I got that.
Exactly.
I know all about it.
Yeah.
Well, we are done with that coughing fit. Thank you so much for being here, James. Thank you. We've got much more to come on Fresh Outlook. The lightning round is next.